When I first came here, I think it was $65,000. And every year, the Finance Committee and the Board of Selectmen at during the budget deliberations have been supportive to know that that is so unrealistic. They keep adding another $25,000 per year. I would assume that even given the financial situation going on this year, we'll probably look for another $25,000 to go to 150.
Mr. Rowe.
On that part of it, I've been through it a couple times, and it's one of the systems that I don't understand, and it sounds like it's logical bureaucracy, but we seem to be penalized if we actually put the amount of money in there that we need.
That's
so
correct.
We're, it's
Correct. Don't do it.
So people understand out there that if we know we're going to spend $250,000 every year for snow, it would seem logical that we just appropriate that. But if we do, we get penalized. So what we do is we keep the figure low.
Can't go back.
Can't go backwards, right?
Can't go back.
Because we haven't added...
Because once you appropriate that 250, that means you have to appropriate the 250 all the time. So, why? I still don't understand it. I suppose maybe
Welcome to government.
Mr. Murphy would understand high finance, but...
One other comment, if I could, Joe.
Yes,
that is,
goodness.
just so you also know in our operations, because of our aquifers, and we have a very sensitive aquifer district, we do not use as much hard chemicals as our neighboring communities, and yet I believe the storm for storm we stayed up pretty well. We have other alternative mechanical devices on our sanders. We have belly blades right in the middle. If you've ever noticed, they're right underneath the chassis with a lot of down pressure that takes a lot of the scraping. I mean, it takes a lot of wear and tear on your rig, but in lieu of putting a lot more chemicals down, it may have an impact on our aquifers. That's what we've chosen.
Thank you. Mr. Messeri.
Just a comment on the under budgeting of the snow. As I recall from my finance committee days, there were two issues. One is if you budget more, since we're paying for the under budget in next year's budget, we're pulling things in, so we have that much less to spend.
Right.
And the second issue is if you over budget a year, that money then goes back into the general fund as free cash, which gets certified the following year. Now you have to wait a year before you can use it.
Right. And you can't go backwards on your amount either. Once you hit a peak,
That's why you never do it.
you have to stay there. Thank you very
It's
much.
one of the few things you intentionally under budget. That's the way it is.
Exactly. Okay, any further questions? Yes, Mr. Younger.
And just to follow up on that finance question, is that the 1 year that, let's say you make the jump to 250, you're actually taking a double hit, because as Mr. Messeri was saying, you have to appropriate, let's say, from 125 to 250, plus also you have to put on the top of the tax is where you were underfunded, so you could be actually 250 for that year above and beyond what you...
Yeah, you take a big hit if you were to true it up, but then to get it back, if you have a mild winter, you wait extra long to get your money
Right.
back. It's one of those quirky things.
Exactly. Okay, any further questions or comments? All right, I want to thank you very much. Thank you, Dave. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
One thing for Dave before he goes.
Yep.
Dave,
Yes, excuse me.
that award that you got, will each person on your staff and each member that's involved in that get
I'll be back.
something, a copy and something in their
Fluoride,
file?
everybody gets it in their personal file.
Okay.
The other one was specifically...
Right, I understand.
Yep. Yes.
John, do you want to recess? You want to recess? Okay.
Go ahead.
All right. Next on our agenda is old and new business. Mr. Rowe.
Yes, a couple of things. I got, I don't know if everybody got the memo from Dick Simmons.
Yes, they circulated.
Okay. This is in regards, I had a number of people call me about abatement on their taxes for wetlands, and town really does not have a specific policy stating what they do or don't tax on it. All I can suggest is anybody that has wetlands that feels that they're not being taxed fairly on it, will have to go individually and talk to the assessor, Dick Simmons. Basically, the way it was explained to me was that if the wetlands prohibit you from the usage of that, for instance, putting a swimming pool or a garage or extending your house, then they might do something about it. If it's just way down in your backyard and you can't cut down the trees or plant or things like that, as long as it doesn't interfere with your living space, so to speak, then they don't give an abatement. So everybody's going to have to go in on an individual basis on that. And I would suggest they go see Dick Simmons if they have any questions. The other thing I had was the letter from the town of Reading on a joint meeting. We're gonna.
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up.
You're gonna, okay.
Yeah. No, I don't mind doing it right now.
No, I'll wait then on that. I do have some questions on we had a meeting, Mr. Muldoon and myself and the town administrator with the Martins Pond Committee on their problems over there with the beaver dams and such. And I'd just like to bring it up, and maybe Jim can discuss it further, that we do have to come up with a plan as to what we're going to do. It has to be a long-range plan. So I think we have to set up some sort of a committee. This is part of the law. This isn't just something that we want to do. This is something that's required. So I think we have to take care of that. Also, I'd like to know what we're going to do on I thought it was going to be on the agenda this week. We have vacancies on the police station building committee, and the Historic District Commission came to us to put a couple more members on there, and I'd like to know, what's happening with that, when we're going to pursue that, what we're going to do about it.
Okay, I can address the Historic District Commission. Mr. Murphy, I believe, will address the Police Station Building Committee. I did speak with the chairman of the Historic District Commission, and at the time, he was not aware that I want to get the wording right, the alternates would be voting members. What he has asked me is that he would like to bring it back to his membership to discuss it with them as far as the numbers and letting them know this also. They were not aware of this at the time. So I told him that's fine, and he could get back to me after he discussed it with his membership.
Well, it came to us that they had a lot of work, they had a lot of projects coming up, and they needed help. And whether they are voting members or non-voting or alternates or whatever, I don't see. If they need help, they need help, and I'm very disappointed that this thing has not been brought up. It just, I don't like the idea of it. It seems to me that if somebody comes up and they need help, they need help.
I told him that may be an issue, and he said he'd be glad to explain that to you if you give him a call.
Well, I thought the board had set it up that they were going to come up on this particular meeting to discuss it, which I'm very disappointed that it's not on the meeting.
Well, my understanding was I was going to contact him as liaison on the issue.
To have a meeting with us.
No.
That
To
was
explain
my
to him
understanding.
about the voting membership, and if he still wanted to go forward, and I told you, I gave you his answer to me. He wants to bring that back to his committee, because at the time he did not realize they would be voting members. That's the only answer I can give you, Mr. O. That's the answer he gave me.
So when is he going to be coming back to the Board of Selectmen?
I don't know. I didn't ask him that. I don't know when he's meeting with his committee again, his district.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Mr. Rowe, well, excuse me, one through what Mr. Rowe also had a question on the police building committee.
Okay.
I guess, you want to address that?
Well, can I comment on the HDC?
Oh, sure.
To make sure I understand it?
Yep.
The chair of the Historic District Commission wants to go back to his commission and discuss the issues, so they're not
Right.
seeking additional appointments
at this time.
at this time.
And part of the issue
based on the
was
ruling
they would be voting
Of
members.
associate versus alternate.
Right.
Okay, just making sure I'm on the right page. If I may, I apologize.
No, that's fine, that's fine.
I was out of the room, so if I may ask Mr. Rowe's
Yep.
question on the police station. You
I'm
said you had a
sorry, yeah,
question.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
The question was, what are we doing about the vacancies, or what's happening with that?
Well, I spoke with, if I may, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, yes, Mr. Murphy.
I spoke with Ken Jones, who's chair of the Police Station Building Committee. I spoke with him regarding current status, and I'll give an update myself under old and new business. But on the issue of filling the vacancies, they've currently got, I believe, 3 vacancies as a result of resignations from the committee. They do have 5 sitting members at the time, and Mr. Jones and I agreed that it made sense to not seek additional members to the committee at this time. And maybe I'll understand it further when I do my update, but maybe not. I'll certainly entertain a question now or later, but I guess as the liaison to the committee, I would not recommend making any appointments to the committee now, and I did speak to the chair of the committee, and he's not pushing to fill those vacancies at this time either. So,
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, that's fine. That's it.
Mr. Younger, I inadvertently went by town administrator's report.
You continue.
Continue? Okay.
he was
Mr. Mulder.
enjoying it.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to make some people aware, like Dana said, we did meet with the members of the Martins Pond Association. Actually, Mr. Younger and DPW was nice enough to meet with us. The Martins Pond Association and the people that live in that area, they have a number of issues and problems that other parts of the town don't have to deal with or not aware of. And basically, flooding is obviously an issue that people are aware of. Whenever, last year we had a tremendous rainfall and the flooding went over Burroughs Road and people were trapped. And trying to get out of that area is a difficult situation. One of the issues they're concerned about is access to 125, and it has a lot of roadblocks involved. The state has control of Route 125, and they do not want to give up that control very easily. And what we'd like to do is have some kind of emergency access that we can control to get people out onto 125. So that's something that we're looking at. School busing plan, that was one of the situations that it evolved because of the flood. The school buses were not allowed to go down in that area. Obviously, the kids were not allowed to go to school for several days, so they were concerned about that issue. Vehicles passing down Burroughs Road. Burroughs Road was flooded 1 to 2 feet. High wheeled vehicles could pass down Burroughs Road. But the problem with that was that if you know anything about boats, or as a boat goes by, it creates quite a wake. Well, the same thing occurs for a vehicle that passes down Burroughs Road. There are houses that are affected by waves coming at them as everyone passes by. So this is certainly an issue that we may want to deal with in the future, involving police and fire, and maybe preventing any access down that road, because it damages people's property, and that's really an important thing for all of us to remember. Another issue is connected to flooding and flow of the Ipswich River. They've had an enormous amount of trouble with beaver dams, which have blocked the flow out of the Martins Pond area, therefore raising the height of the Martin's Pond and the resulting possible flooding. So we're